Okay, this video is going to show you a continuous course setup, how to set up your gradebook really fast and set up a couple of units. And so there's plenty of other videos about that are in depth about how to do things, but this, like I said, this is going to be one continuous video, probably about 20 minutes long here. So I'm at the Carthage homepage. I'm going to go up to Campus Tools, down to One Login. I'm going to click on Brightspace right here. If it's not in your frequent, click on Carthage Everything. And you're going to see your courses listed here. Here's your home page for Brightspace. And so I have a sandbox course that I'm going to use, but if you're working in a real course, you're going to see the semesters right here. And as a faculty member, you should have a sandbox course. If you keep scrolling through the terms here, if you don't see it, let us know and we can create one for you. So a couple things that you might want to change right off the bat right here. So this is an image that Brightspace assigned to me, and maybe I don't like that image. Maybe I want to change it to something else. I can click on Change Image, and if I put in Engineering right here, I'm going to go ahead and choose this one. You can upload your own image as well if you'd like. And if I wanted to customize some of this text right here that came over from Workday, I can click on Customize Banner Text. And I might put in something like, Wednesday, 6 p.m., maybe the room number, just so it's super obvious. And save that. Next thing I'm going to do is customize my profile widget right here. I'm going to go ahead and click on that and configure. And so for heading, you can put department XYZ, how you want to be called. I always like changing that color to a nice Carthage red. And upload a pic of yourself or something that represents the course. I cannot solve a Rubik's Cube. Hopefully you can. I'm going to delete about me because it's only 32 characters. And in the biography, it's like I tend to put contact information in there. If you have a Zoom permanent link, you might want to put in there, office hours, etc. And save and close. And once again, I have other videos about how to use some of these other things here. But one thing that I do want you to change right away as well, if you click on your name here at the top, and if you go down to account settings, and I've already done this, I know you might not have, so go ahead and click on email. And make sure that you have a checkbox in here, send a copy of each outgoing message to your Carthage email address, save and close. So before I start creating content, everybody wants to create content right away. I want you to go to the gradebook first and set that up. So go ahead and click on grids. And the default is points. And it's going to walk you through a couple of pages, but I'm going to click weighted for this example. Continue. Continue. And you can just keep hitting continue through all this. And because that's the defaults. And save at the bottom. And you can always go back and change these as well. So whether you're doing like weighted categories or percentages or points, you definitely want to create some categories up here. So I'm going to create a new grade category. I'm going to call this exams. I'll have that be 30%. And if you're weighting by categories or percentages like I am, for distribution, do not have this top one checked marked. Most people are going to choose this middle one, distribute weights by points, or if you're dropping the lowest quiz, you're going to select this bottom one. But most people are going to choose that middle one right there. So I've just created exams. I'm going to do papers, also at 30%. Distribute weights. So I'm at 60%. I'm going to do quizzes at 30. And if you're creating categories with points here, you're not going to have to do this part. You just have to really create your categories. It works pretty fast. Save and new. And I'm going to do participation at 10 there. Distribute weights and save and close. So at this point, I got 30, 30, 30, and 10 here. And, you know, if I was over 100 or under 100, I'd have like an angry message right here telling me, hey, you know, it doesn't add up to 100. If I needed to go ahead and balance, I could just put a checkbox in here and bulk edit and go ahead and do that. So before I go to content right here, I'm going to go to the assignments page just to show you a couple quick things. So on the assignments page, you have something here called edit categories. So categories are not weighted categories. They do not connect to the gradebook. Think of it as how things are arranged on this page. And so I'm going to click on edit categories. I'm going to add a couple of quick categories. I'm going to just call it week 1. I'm going to add another one called week 2. You know, you could do it by topic, you know, or just by the order of how students are doing things, but categories just help arrange things on this page. You don't have to use them, but it's helpful. I'm going to close, and I'm just going to create a couple of quick assignments now. So I'm going to call this exam 1. It's going to be 100 points. And where it says in the gradebook right here, editor link to existing, choose grade category. And these are the categories that I created in the gradebook. So I'm going to say exams. Okay. Give it a due date. And under submissions and completion right here, where it says category, those are those weeks I just created. So I could create a new one here if I needed it to fit. Maybe it was going in week 3. So I'm going to say week 1. Then under submission type, you know, you have 5 choices. File submission, file or text. This would be an on-paper submission. So I'm going to choose that. If it's participation, I'd probably choose observed in person. What does a file or what does the text mean? Students could write directly within the Brightspace text box for their submission. So I'm going to say this is on paper. You know, that way, the system knows that they don't have to submit something. So you definitely want to choose the submission type. I'm going to make this visible, save and close. I'm going to do one more assignment type. I'm going to call this paper 1. Once again, in gradebook, editor link to existing, choose my grade category, give it a due date, submissions and completion. This time it will be a file submission. And sure, I'll put this in week 2. And if I needed to add a rubric, I could add one down here, make it visible, save and close. So when I look at my assignment page, I have an assignment here under week 1, assignment under here week 2. I know it's in the gradebook because I have this little icon right here. So when I go over to the gradebook, when I click on grades, I'm going to see those as well. I see exam 1 and paper 1 right here. So what happens if I had to delete exam 1? You know, I'm not going to use it for whatever reason. So first I'm going to go to the assignments page. And this part is really important. You know, you have to get this concept down. When you delete an assignment, you also have to delete it from the gradebook. So I'm going to delete exam 1 right here. Delete that assignment. So that's no longer on the assignments page. When I go to grades over here, it's like surprise, it's still there, right? Like, why didn't it get deleted? And so it's going to make you delete it twice. That's just what the system does. So if I go up to manage grades, and if I see exam 1 right here, if you notice there's no association, paper 1 connected to assignments, there's no association here. It kind of tells you that it's just kind of hanging out there. So if I go up to more actions, if I go to delete, click on exam 1 and delete, now it's gone. So let's start building some content. So I click on the content page. So at the very top level, we have things called units here. So I'm going to click on new unit. And I'm going to say start here. And I'm going to make sure this is visible. And save and close. So when we think about things that we might have in a start here folder, like obviously the thing is, you're going to have a syllabus. So I'm going to click on one of these two buttons here. Add existing is content you've already created. Create new, content that is not created. So when I click on add existing, this could be something from Google Drive, an assignment, something you've already created in Brightspace. I have this syllabus on my computer, so I'm going to browse out to it. And where's my syllabus? There we go. Let me go ahead and open that up. And I'm also going to make sure that it's visible anytime you do something in Brightspace for the first time. It hides it from students. So most of the time, be in the habit of making it visible. I'm going to go back to this top level start here. So at the top level here, it says start here, but this is blank. It's not very, quite frankly, it's not very pretty, and there's a couple other things that you want to do here. So if I go to edit, this kind of like blank canvas right here, this gives you some of the standard editing tools. But one of the things that Brightspace does really, really well, it allows you to copy and paste stuff that you already have. So I already have something about this course. So I'm going to use my critical copying pasting skills. And I'm just going to plunk that right down in there and save and close. I'm going to show you another concept on this page, which I'll repeat in a week 1 folder here. So if I go back to edit right here, and I'm going to type something that says, please read the syllabus. And if I do this now as a link, right here, if I click on this link, insert quick link, this is going to link out to any course material that I already have in Brightspace. So now if I go to content right here, there's my start here folder, and click on that, save and close. It's like students don't have to click here, they can just go to these top level pages to get that material. I'm going to create a new unit here. I'm going to call it week 1, make it visible, save and close. And so the way the foldering structure works inside of Brightspace is these top level, we have units. If I want a folder underneath that, that's going to be called a lesson. And then if you have another folder underneath a lesson, they actually call that a folder. So I'm going to create 2 lessons under week 1 called Tuesday and Thursday. Instead of add existing, I'm going to create new. Click on lesson. And I'll just call that Tuesday. Save and close. And I'm going to highlight week 1 again. Because I'm not putting Thursday inside of Tuesday, I want to put it inside of week 1. Create new lesson. And I'll call that Thursday. Save and close. So on Tuesday right here, if I had some course documents that I want students to read, I could upload them just like I had just like I uploaded the syllabus, but I could also grab something from my Google Drive. So I'm going to click on Google Drive right here. And I've already connected my Google Drive. It'll take about, 7, 8 seconds to connect here. If this is the first time that you're connecting to your Google Drive, it'll ask you to make that connection. And I'm going to click on the folder where I'm going. And I'm going to go ahead and upload. Well, let's go for this document right here. And so this happens to be like a PDF. And so what's the difference between like upload and add? Like upload actually kind of like creates a copy of it inside of Brightspace, where if you click add, this will give you that Google Drive like editing feature right inside Brightspace. So if you want to make adjustments right inside of Brightspace or from your Google Drive, it will be reflected that way. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on upload. There we go, and I'm going to add one other document here. I'll do this one from my Google Drive. Let's go for this PowerPoint right here. And I'm going to make that visible as well. So I have two documents right here. And if I click on Tuesday right here, maybe I want another folder inside of Tuesday just called assignments. And I'm going to click on create new because I'm actually creating a folder now inside of Tuesday. And so this just helps to keep things organized for students. I can spell assignments. And so now, I have week 1, Tuesday, and then assignments right here. And I already created that one assignment in here, so maybe I want it to fall underneath there. Add existing assignment. And just plunks it right underneath assignments there. Makes it nice and easy. So once again, I have this top level page here. I have a top level page here and a top level page, I guess, on assignments as well. But on Tuesday here, or the week, like maybe I want to like have this narrative, this description. And once again, this part is pretty important. So depending on how long you want your description or narrative to be, there's a couple of things that you want to consider. So I'm going to go back to Google Drive here for a second. And I'm just going to click on the Google Doc that I already have created called Week 1 Thermodynamics. And what you want to consider at those top level pages is setting up some kind of template. And what do I mean by that? It's like when you have stuff that's repetitive, maybe you want to have something that just says, Tuesday class material, Thursday class material with, some place to put a description of what you're doing for that class. And so the advantage to this is, oops, let me go ahead and copy this. I got to practice my copying and pasting skills, obviously. So let me copy that. And I'm going to go back to week 1 right here. And I'm going to edit this blank page. And so everything copied and pasted right in there. And so, but maybe I want to link out to that class material and assignment specifically for Tuesday. So you can write obviously anything you want on these pages to be a little more descriptive. And so I'm going to link out to those documents. And so go out to content, go to my week 1. There's my Tuesday folder. Why did it put it up there? I don't know why I put it up there. Let's do that again. And maybe I had my cursor in the wrong place. Like I said, this is the unedited version. There we go, that's better. And let me put that other one right underneath. And I'm also going to throw that assignment there. I just have the one assignment created, save and close. And so at these very top level pages now, if I scroll down through this, you know, if students have problems finding stuff like buried in folders or what do I do next, how do I do it? It's these top level pages that help you, you know, write that. And adding those links back in and things like that are generally going to be like fairly helpful. So we did that in about 20 minutes. And so I know it's going to take you more than 20 minutes to do what I just did the first time that you learned something. I have plenty of other videos that kind of like showcase how to do plenty of other things, but this would sort of be your basic start. Thank you and have a good day.